is 70% water. And 30% land. But the entire sky belongs to us.
Copy that. Aim high, airmen.
For the introduction. So like she said, we're part of the Thunderbirds with the Air Force. In a joking manner, I did get asked this morning if we are out of Pensacola, but no, that is our rivals. As much as we love the partnership with the Blue Angels, we're part of the same industry, per se, but that is our healthy competition. So I am Courtenay Spiritus. I'm the maintenance superintendent with the team for the Thunderbirds. So who are the Thunderbirds? We have 13 F-16s, Block 50s. They were out of the assembly line in the 90s, and they come with Pratt & Whitney 229s. So we have 13 of those, and to maintain those 13 aircraft, we have about 135 people on the team with about 30 different specialties. The team is on the road right now. The aircraft are headed to Cheyenne, Wyoming, but we were grateful enough to bring some of the team members here today. So we have a handful of maintainers up here with me, and then we also have our personnelists, our public affairs, and our AFE out here as well. So if you wanted to talk to them, they're right over there. So something that does make us different when it comes to the Air Force is we're a hand-selected team. So it's not whoever wants to be on the team gets to be on the team. It comes with a lot of preliminary things of what it takes to be a Thunderbird, because we are the face of the Air Force, and we do deem ourselves America's team. So every individual that you see in this uniform, whether it's enlisted or officers, when it comes to the pilots, they are hand-selected, especially the 12 officers that we have. But all the individuals with stripes on their shoulders are hand-selected as well throughout the entire Air Force. So our force of 365,000 people, it is narrowed down to about 135 of us. So before I kick it off to the rest of the maintainers, I did want to show a quick video before we get into that.
The Earth is 70% water. And 30% land. belongs to us.
Copy that. Team high airmen.
Yeah, so that video doesn't fully encompass everything that we do day in and day out. That's more the glamour side of things. Someone did ask us today as well, how much tender and loving care does it come when it comes to maintaining the aircraft? And in so many words, on the very best day, it might take a couple hours, and it takes every single one of us to accomplish that. So being a crew chief by trade, it's the root of what I've done before, and gray units is what we call them. But what these individuals do day in and day out is truly incredible to maintain these 13 aircraft, because a small fleet is just as work-worthy as it comes to like a normal fleet that has about 28 to 32 aircraft. So I do want to hand it off to our maintainers.
Right on. My name is Staff Sergeant Brock Hansen. I'm one of the newest members on the team, so I figured I'd maybe speak on the perspective of someone who's just joined. But a little bit about myself. I've been in the Air Force for 6 years, and I am an avionics technician, so I specialize in radios, radar, and all that kind of fun stuff in the aircraft. Just joining the team has been an interesting experience. It's been really fun, and I have had an absolute pleasure so far in my very short time with them. I have enjoyed my time in the team because it has given me the opportunity to maybe step out and see how other people conduct work on the aircraft that we work on. I've spent most of my career focusing only on the avionics aspect of things, but it's been cool to work with crew chiefs and other specialists to kind of see how the aircraft works on a bigger scale rather than just the computers. So that's been a really good, helpful point in helping drive professional development for myself, but also on personal development. I'm also a very introverted individual, and the team has, it's put me in a spot where I can step out and kind of work on people's skills and talking and getting to meet all of you fine people here today. So it's been I'm really glad to be here to meet everybody. But that's all I've got. I'll pass it on down the line. So,
I'm Staff Sergeant Michael DeJournett. I've been in the Air Force for 6 years. 2 of those years, or over 2 of those years, has been with the Thunderbirds. Born and raised near St. Louis, just outside of St. Louis, and never thought I'd join the military, let alone be here today on the Thunderbirds. So It's definitely an awing experience, especially like what Sergeant Hansen was saying, like getting to work with other people that you never imagined you get to work with before. I'm a crew chief by trade. I'm a dedicated crew chief. It's my second year being a dedicated crew chief and being a part of the show line. It's the people that you usually see marching around in front of the jets in our air shows and the ground demonstrations. I'm the number 8 dedicated crew chief, one of 2, and one of 4 flying crew chiefs for the F-16s in the entire Air Force. So this job has given me the opportunity to see things from a completely different perspective that any other crew chief I really know has gotten to see. I've gotten to meet a ton of great people, such as the people here today, as well as throughout the entire Air Force, throughout the country, excuse me. And as we also venture out into like Canada and possibly overseas someday, just truly a blessing to be here and to be a part of this great team, hand-selected like Senior said. And I just want to say thank you guys for having us, and it's been a pleasure.
Good morning, how are you guys? My name is Staff Sergeant Justin Weidner. I'm originally from Dallas, Georgia. I've been in the Air Force about 6.5 years. I started my career at Seymour Johnston, North Carolina. I worked on the F-15 for about 4.5 years. I've been on the Thunderbirds for about 1.5 years. I'm a jet engine mechanic by trade, so I maintain the 13 Pratt & Whitney F100-229 engines on our aircraft. That's my primary duty. My secondary duty is the number 6 Assistant Dedicated Crew Chief. As Sergeant DeJournett said, that's the show line. That's the members that you see marching, maintaining the aircraft on a day-to-day basis. The team's been a very unique experience for me because I've been able to step outside of my realm as an engine guy and kind of step out of my comfort and become an Assistant Dedicated Crew Chief, so I also maintain the aircraft along with the engine. But it's a complete honor being here, and thank you guys for having us.
What's going on, everyone? Staff Sergeant Chase Messner. I've been in the Air Force for about 6 years now. I'm also an avionics technician. This is my 3rd year on the team, so I've been around the team for quite some time. The team, we go on like 36 TDYs, 72 different show locations per year. So we're gone for 220 days. So it can be kind of a rigorous year for everyone. So I'm at the point where I'm starting to like pass the reins down to the new people. And I've had an extraordinary time on the team. I'm also one of the flying crew chiefs as well. I'm cross-trained on crew chief tasks to be able to fulfill that role. So being able to do something like that has been extraordinary for me and my team as well. I love doing the stuff, or being able to do that stuff for my team as well. So yeah, avionics, so anything with a computer, a radar, a radio, or a wire, that's pretty much my problem. Everything's integrated within the F-16, so I'll often find myself working on systems that I never thought I would find myself working on, but they somehow tie into like my job. So yeah, overall, really great experience, and thank you guys for having us.
Hey, I'm Staff Sergeant Zachary Glass, originally from Asheville, North Carolina. I joined about 6 years ago, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to join the team. I got to do a lot of times overseas and getting to serve. The team is really cool. I'm a crew chief, just like Sergeant DeJournett and our senior, and I mostly deal with scheduled, unscheduled inspections, any type of maintenance, and general health of the fleet and the jets. So it's been an awesome opportunity to come out here and get to meet all of you. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask any one of us.
So even though they give us short snippet of who they are and what they do, our team members are very notorious for underselling themselves, a little bit of imposter syndrome. So when it comes to the crew chief, their airframe power plant in general, they're the catch-all to everything mechanical and the exterior, the fuselage. Our avionics, they might say it's just a computer base, but all the wires is a fly-by-wire aircraft, so everything internal to that belongs to them. And then even the engines, the aircraft's not going anywhere without that Pratt & Whitney 229. So even though they come on the team with their specialties, 95 individuals from the 135 on the team are maintainers. So we have our back shoppers, so our metals tech, our sheet metal, and then in the primary flights, we have our avionics, engines, electricians, and then our crew chiefs. So it's not by choice. They know prior to coming to the team that they do have to get cut trained, cross-utilized training from other specialties to be the multi-capable airman that the Air Force in general is looking for. But we on the Thunderbirds definitely put that to the next level. So it's something that is expected of them and that the Air Force is trying to grasp onto and work their way towards. But the Thunderbirds on the team, they definitely take it to the next level. So even though they might tell you about their specialties, they are jack of many trades, maybe master of one thing, but definitely a jack of many trades. So if you talk to them, whether up here or out there, please don't let them undersell themselves. They're the best of the best and hand-selected once again throughout the Air Force. And at this time, I don't know if we're okay with opening up to questions.
Do you want to say a little bit about the application process?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So in the Air Force, there's a place called Talent Marketplace. Any of the special jobs, the special duties within the Air Force are put onto there. So unfortunately, when we put that ad out there, an email doesn't go out or a signal doesn't go out to everybody. And a lot of it is who you know, and especially the F-16 community, let alone the fighter community, is very small. So we know a lot of the individuals that we're seeking out for. But on that Talent Marketplace, it's like I guess you could compare it to like USA jobs, like you just click the button to apply. Once you click that button, our personnelist, like Staff Sergeant Moffat over there, she'll send some paperwork to that individual to fill out. And then comes with that, you have to get a letter of recommendation from your commander, so you can't just apply on your own. You have to be blessed by your leadership. Because a lot of people do apply and then their leadership will hit us up and it's like, that is not the person for you, which we're greatly appreciative of. But once we get that application, it's on the maintainer side. I don't look after the other specialties on the non-maintenance side, but on the maintenance side, I'll sit with all the section leads, look over that package, and then we do phone calls and interviews with that individual and their leadership. And then if they check all the boxes, then it's see you on this date and time. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your service. And I have a little bit of, I hope, a fun question. You talked about how much you're on the road in all the different cities. Do any of you have a favorite show that has happened and why? And I love that.
Yes, favorite location, Sergeant Weidner and I were just talking about it. I've gone to Daytona the past 2 years for the Daytona 500, and it's not even a full-up air show. It's in the middle of our training season, actually. So, Daytona happens about mid-February. It's the first time that the team of that season gets to showcase their flying capabilities. The ground show is not even a presence there. It's strictly flying, but just being there immersed with the Daytona community is like something that's unmatched. If anybody here has not been to Daytona 500, you get a chance to go, do it. It's great. I didn't even like NASCAR before I went, had no idea that they turned right or left or whatever, and then I was like, oh, I love this sport, it's great. So for me it would be Daytona 500.
If you haven't seen the documentary on Netflix, there's a documentary about the team. It kind of goes in how just difficult Daytona is for the team, the time on target aspect for flying for the national anthem and doing it right down Crowd Center. It's a super fun show, but there's also a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you guys do not see. But the documentary does a very good job of showcasing that for you.
Yeah.
I think my favorite show location is, it kind of catches people by surprise, Traverse City, Michigan. I don't know if there's any Michiganders in here, but the Midwest in the summertime is beautiful right on Lake Michigan. So the Cherry Festival is awesome. But I think that's my probably top 3 favorite locations. Good question. Thank you.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Absolutely.
How close do you fly to one another?
So the pilots fly about 18 inches apart from wingtip to canopy, depending on the formation they're in. They work their way in closer as the season goes on. As that trust is built, they get a lot closer together. So in the diamond, they'll be flying more spread in the beginning of the season, and as the season goes on, they'll kind of merge together, and you'll see that 18-inch even closer. You're good.
That's a very unique thing about the documentary itself. It talks about how in the beginning of the show season that they start out much farther apart, and towards the end of the show season they start to move in and fly in a lot tighter formations.
So to harp on that as well, when it comes to the officers, they're only on the team for 2 years, and they're not in the same position that they are the previous year. So being in a new position, new requirements of what they're trying to do is extremely difficult. So we're maintainers, we're not aircrew by any means, but aircrew is taught at the beginning of their stages of you do not want to fly that close together. You do not want to be that close together, right? So for them to get out of that natural habit, to be that close is extremely incredible, along with learning something new the following year. And to say that, they're extremely hand-selected from the ACC, the Air Combat Command Commander, for that position out of the 12 slots. But we had it, unfortunately, this year. If you can't make it, you're replaced. So it's not taken lightly by any means.
Can you speak to the importance of your role as a supporting part of the team to the pilots, and how the work that you do relates to the work that they're doing?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So pretty much we make sure that the jets are healthy and that they are fixed and good to fly. They wouldn't be able to fly without the inspections we do or without the preventative maintenance that we perform. So without us, the pilots wouldn't be able to do anything. So our role on the team is essential, and they wouldn't be able to fly without us.
Yeah, on top of the physical support of actually generating good aircraft for the pilots, there's a deeper relationship amongst maintainers and pilots on this team than you would see in the normal Air Force. So if you know that your pilot had a bad practice on Friday and you got to lock in on Saturday and perform a show, and they walk up and you know that they might be a little bit shaken from the previous day, you kind of got to remind him or her, like, hey, like, it's time to lock in, I got your back. And everything that we do is set up so that they can only focus on the demos. Like, perfect example is we set up all the pilot gear prior to the pilots even stepping out to the jets. At a typical Air Force unit, or a gray tail unit, the pilot would come to the spot, check over all the aircraft forms, they would have their own gear, they would set up all their own switches. We do all that for them. So when they come to the jet, all they have to focus on is just a sharp demonstration. We'll set up every single switch for them. That way they can stay locked in, straight, and focused the entire show. I saw he had his hand raised a minute ago.
Yeah, so everything you do is super important in aviation maintenance, obviously, but the scale is times 100, if not more, on the Thunderbirds. Just because of you're flying over a crowd, and the jets are flying super close together. So there's no mistake that can be made in any sort of maintenance practice that you do. Compared to a gray unit, it's still very important, but you're not having people fly 18 inches apart, of course, at a gray unit. Everyone's obviously more spread out. Yeah, the mission set, I would say the mission set really changes a lot of what we do and the importance of what we do.
I'll also touch on that. Our visibility is very high, so if we don't pay extreme attention to detail, or little things aren't met, we're not going to fly a 6-ship demonstration, meaning we're not going to get 6 aircraft in the air. That's why we're hand chosen amongst the Air Force, to ensure that we are projecting air power.
Sir.
The ground show is unique, right, to the Thunderbird compared to what your normal active duty mission, right? So can you talk a little bit about that, how much training do you all do on the ground show? Does that choreography kind of change year to year, or is it kind of all set by duties?
I think it's been pretty consistent the past few years. So I worked next door to the Thunderbirds for a handful of years, and I think it's been pretty consecutive when it comes to the ground show. As soon as a member checks into our unit, that's when they start learning all the on-the-job training, so all the OJT type stuff. So we have different launches. There's a gray launch and then the show launch. The gray launch, every maintainer is expected to know that. We don't just do a typical normal launch like you'll see a normal unit does, so there's always some type of choreography that comes with it. But when it comes to the show line launch, our 11, our maintenance officer, before the beginning of every show season, so around November, she does position pickings. And then prior to, members, if they truly, that is their goal, to be on show line, because that's another hand-selected position within the hand-selected unit that we have. If they truly want it, they'll start working towards that and learning the techniques from the individuals that are on show line now. And then through our winter training, that's when the numbers are picked, the positions are picked from 1 through 6, or 1 through 8. That's when them as a team start choreographing, because they have to be in line with each other. But they have essentially the winter training before the first show in March to perfect it. If not, then that's another discussion that needs to be had. That's something that we take extremely serious, especially when we're not at a boys show and then we have the crowd and spectators watching. So all of that is under a spotlight. But these are the individuals doing it, so they might have a better perspective.
As a new member of the team, I've kind of been learning our gray launch, which is still choreographed to an extent. And it's been really interesting to learn kind of how the team launches out the aircraft and the movements and everything. I had my opportunity to launch out jets for the first time on the team last week. and I had some feedback. I looked a little robotic when I was doing it, but I'm happy to receive the feedback and to learn kind of how the team does it. But what was important is that we did get them out safe, and they took off safely, and that's paramount to everything. So it's been fun.
Yeah.
From a typical like show launch in front of the crowd, I think the timing from startup to taxi is about 5 to 6 minutes, which is insane compared to like a regular unit. It sometimes can take up to like 20 minutes for all the avionics systems to work as they're supposed to and make sure there's no issues. But we have a whole bunch of different practices. So say a jet was no longer capable of flying, it broke in chocks or whatever. If it's a taxiable condition, this is kind of like me and Sergeant DeJournett's job. We go to the end of the runway. We call it leper. We're away from the whole crowd during a show. And if a jet breaks, the pilot will taxi down there and we'll get the spare jet ready and we'll slap the numbers on and we'll make sure that jet is good to go for the pilot that's had to step out of that jet. So it's kind of a super important role to get the 6 aircraft up for the 6-ship show. So yeah, it's a little bit of behind the scenes work that we do.
You're all obviously incredibly technically savvy, handpicked for all those reasons. Is there a skill that it surprised you that you needed to learn or that you had to have that you maybe didn't anticipate coming into this new role that's very different than a traditional?
Oh yeah.
Public speaking.
This stuff. Anything regarding public speaking, interviews, being up in front of a crowd, meeting new people. Never thought I would ever do anything like this in my career. So having to learn all this, you get to talk to PA, CSS, all of them. They give you the pointers and the tips and tricks on how to conduct yourself up here.
Yeah, like if you go to any other base, or even at an Ellis Air Force Base, there's flight line units everywhere where there's crew chiefs scattered, like a quarter mile from their squadron, just by themselves on an airplane. And that's pretty much how most of us grew up in the Air Force. And then to get thrown into like nice press uniforms in front of people doing things like this is definitely something that you have to work into a little bit. And takes a little bit of training, but I mean, aside from the technical aspect of like actually fixing airplanes, it's like most of the public speaking and stuff. Like, if I hadn't been doing it for 2 years, I probably wouldn't have volunteered to come here because I'm just terrified of people. But yeah, it's something that's shocking, but it's very true.
From a maintenance standpoint, is this something you want to teach the designers and the engineers?
Make it easy.
If you want to come, if you want to come work with us for a day, yeah, avionics. We got to crawl into some like pretty tight bays, but you know, it's the F-16. It's a cramped airframe, so there's not really much room for play in the cockpit or in the avionics bays. So I don't know. Sometimes you look at stuff and you're just like, wow, what made them think of this? But I don't know if there's anything that could be changed now on the platform, to be honest. But yeah, man. Ease of access, I would say, is probably the word for that.
Yeah, I mean, I've never worked on one myself, but I hear the A-10 Warhog is like, it's like opening up a kitchen cabinet. Like, you just open it and grab what you want. And you're just like, oh, everything's right here where I need it. Where it's like he said F-16. I walked by a jet yesterday, and all I saw was feet hanging out of the side of the jet. And I was just like, do you need a water? Like, are you good? Like, so, not an engineer. I have a high school education, but yeah, I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
That's a super interesting question because I've worked on multiple airframes at this point. So like the F-15 is a lot easier to work on versus the F-16, but a lot of that has to do with like restricted space and like the purpose of the aircraft. So it really just depends.
Well, the 15 was designed with a lot of access.
Yes, sir.
What I will say though is on any other platform, an aircraft battery should be a thing. I came from 15s to 16s and it was like angels singing, just like with the canopy open. But aircraft batteries should definitely be a thing on all platforms.
Maybe not as sharp of surfaces.
Oh man.
I have like multiple scars on my head. That's my own fault though. So.
So if I caught this correctly, the pilots are for 2 years. Maintainers could be how long and
It's 3.
okay, 3 years.
Yes, ma'am. So 3-year control tour. So we have this thing called a Code 50. As soon as you get on the team, exactly 3 years from then, you can expect to go on to your next chapter. Depending on the specialty, if we are in dire need of you and we're not finding the right applicants to replace you, you can opt for a 4th year, which is a very long time. Like Chase stated, it's 270 plus days traveling every year, 34 TDY, so different locations, away from your family, whatever lifestyle you have. So that 4th year is a big question mark for a lot of individuals. But with that Code 50, with how the Air Force racks and stacks it, if you have a short tour, so like your Korea tours, your Turkey tours, those individuals or overseas have first picked, and then it comes to us. But like anything else, it's a dream sheet, and it's a dream for a reason. So depending what your specialty is, what you're looking for, if you want to stay stateside, if you want to go overseas, being a very small unit and having one chief, he listens to all of us. So if you have that dream sheet locked in advance and like, hey, this is what my goals are, we try to make it happen. And it actually works out for a lot of individuals. Not for everybody, but if anything, you're off to do your same specialty at a different location.